is Brian Mounts. I run turfmechanic.com and this, the Turf Mechanic YouTube channel. Today I wanted to talk to you about soaker hoses. Over on the website, we get questions somewhat frequently from homeowners who are running gardens predominantly, trying to figure out why their soaker hose is watering whatever surface it is that they're using it on unevenly. There are a handful of reasons for that. It's hard to diagnose exactly the reason for everyone, but the vast majority of people who run soaker hoses, the main reason why it might not be soaking evenly across your garden bed is because of water pressure. Now, having said that, I'm assuming that your garden bed is flat. If the hose is going up a large slope, then that's going to be a big factor. The more of a slope or the more elevation changes, say it's got a hump in it, that will affect the evenness of water distribution. But assuming that your hose is flat, the main problem has to do with water pressure. Now, the vast majority of homes in the United States tend to have water pressure for their outdoor, honestly, for everything, really. Their water pressure usually is in the kind of 50 psi range. So let's just call it 40 to 60 psi. That's generally normal. Soaker hoses, however, if you were to put 40, 50, 60 psi onto a soaker hose like this, it would just blow out. Like, there are tons and tons of little pores on this that are supposed to weep water, and the harder that pressure is, the water starts literally squirting out of these pores, and over time will start causing rips, and and then certain areas are going to be overwatered quite a bit compared to other areas of the hose that maintain their structural integrity. Soaker hoses optimally run in the 10 to 20 psi range, which means that if you are running one right off of your garden and you don't have a flow reducer disc in there, this hose, for instance, does not. This new hose, which I have not used yet, comes with a small plastic flow reducer in there, and that will decrease the pressure in this. So if you go to your spigot and you turn it on, it's going to be coming out, roughly 50 psi. This flow reducer is going to protect the hose and allow it to run or saturate your ground on a more even quantity of water, I guess. If you don't have a disc, or maybe the disc fell out or it got damaged, lost, whatever, you can go out to probably like a Home Depot or any kind of home improvement store, a plumbing store. You can very easily find, and certainly online too, you can find what are called, you can just connect this to a flow restrictor. It's basically a reducer of a pressure reducer. That's what I'm trying to say. So it'll take the 50 and you can bring it down to say 25, or you can bring it straight down to 10. Some of the fancy ones, you can kind of choose which PSI you want it to go through. But if you've got a hose like this with just a little plastic thing, I'll throw a little picture on there so you can see it better. That does just as good. This hose right here, I'm not going to coil it all up for you, but this is a 25-foot hose. The shorter the hose is, the lower the pressure should be. So if you've got a 25-foot hose, or if you cut it and, cut it to size and it's less than that, you want to err on, the lower side, closer to 10 psi. This is a 50 hose, 50-footer. You could probably push 15. Most soaker hoses only go up to about 100 feet. It's not usually recommended to go longer than that. If you have a 100-foot hose, or say, for instance, you link two 50-footers together, you could probably push 20 psi. But once you get beyond that, it starts really damaging the hose. Now, that's also to say, don't have your pressure too high, but the other side is also kind of bad too. So if you're having low or poor water distribution out of your hose, it might even be because your flow has been reduced too much and the pressure might be too low. That's another common problem. People try to reduce it, trying to make sure that everything is fine. But if it goes too low, then where the water goes in is going to experience more internal pressure than the very end where it's capped. And lots of times you'll get a little bit more water coming out towards the head and less toward the foot. So it's good. What I recommend to do is to like literally lay this out on a sidewalk in a long, straight length. Get your pressure regulator set up, connected to the water, turn it on, and get an idea as you watch the water flow on the sidewalk if it appears to be flowing evenly. That is even more the case if you've got an old hose, say something you bought a year or two ago, because sometimes those have been damaged just through regular use. Here at my property, we run on well water. There's lots of sediment, not sediment, but like calcium minerals that flow through the water. We have to regularly clean things inside the house, and on the outside, if you use a soaker hose for a good long time, there's the possibility that you might have some calcification going on the inside of your hose too. And, just like you might run vinegar through a coffee maker, that would probably solve the problem here. But who the heck is going to send vinegar through their soaker hose? I can't imagine that possibly being a solution. If you've got a calcified hose where it's just clogged, some of the pores are clogged in various segments of it, it might just be worth buying a new one. These things on the low end don't cost very much. I just bought this at a local store for like $10. I'm sure there's some really fancy ones out there. You could probably spend $50-$100 if you really wanted to, but there certainly isn't any need. Anyway, those are the main reasons why your soaker hose won't be spreading evenly. So take a look at your own system and see if that solves any of your problems.